be Jamaican dollars, though. All right, anybody else to come in and take a seat? There's an empty table in the back over there. There's some seats up here where there's some beautiful ladies. Now, you all know for the last 15 years since I've been doing this, for those of you who have been here before, there's always a first rule. And that first rule, you've already broken. So, I'm Jerry Butler. I'm from the Bahamas. And my first rule before I eat is we say grace. So all them heathens who've been eating, look around them at the table and let them know I'm a child of God because I didn't eat. Oh man, some of you got, oh God, no home training. All right, so what I'll do is I'll say grace really quickly. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Some silence, please. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, please, Heavenly Father, forgive that crew who was giggling. Heavenly Father, please bless this wonderful meal which we are about to receive. Bless the hands that has prepared it. Bless all the participants in this conference, the hotels, the brands, the students, Andy Ingram, Dr. Andy Ingram and his team, friends, family, please nourish us, make us healthy, make us wise, and Lord of mercy, make us wealthy. This we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord, and may the house say, amen. Thank you very much. Go back to eating. So you all know we have a pretty tight schedule here, and it's already 1:15. I got to be out of here to do a panel at 2:30. So with that being said, let me start off by bringing up a couple of the people who are going to be speaking to get us through today, okay? We have some very important people here who I will recognize later on during the day. I know my friend, the minister from Anguilla is here. Minister, stand up, let them see you. Minister from Anguilla. I saw my cousin, the former minister of tourism from the Bahamas. I'm not sure. Any other government cabinet ministers or someone at that level here who I missed? Stand up, please. Let me see you. Good. All right. There was a panel before. Okay. All right. So with that being said, protocol has been established. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 29th edition of Nabhood. And I trust we continue to accomplish our mission, which is to first inform, second, to educate you, and third, to provide you with opportunities to grow in the hotel and tourism sector. As we do that from yesterday, the day before, and today, please stop by and let us know from time to time what we need to do different and where you think we can improve so next year's conference is even better for us. If you are a student, the next level of Nabhood guests, and you are at this event, students, please stand up. Give them a hand. And this initiative is part of my brother Andy's really good heart. He's always thought that for an event like this where they're going to be paying professionals who come to see what we're doing, we need to expose the next generation of tourism managers, tourism operators, tourism owners. So all of these students are here, and they're here not paying, but they're here to learn. So if you get a chance to interact with them, one, give them some advice, and two, if you can, Lord of mercy, give them a job, okay? Now, could I call up the Commissioner for Broward County, Ms. Hazel Rogers, please, to bring some quick welcome remarks. Hazel, are you here? Hazel Rogers, are you here? Hazel Rogers, going once, going twice. Cardigan Corner, are you here? Cardigan Corner, are you here? Douglas Palmer. Douglas Palmer, former mayor of Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a break from eating and help me welcome the Honorable Minister Cardigan Corner of Anguilla. He is the Minister of Health, the Minister of Sports, and the Minister of Tourism. Please give him a hand.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here. In fact, Andy I've known for quite some time, going back to the early 90s, when he would have at times spent time in St. Martin, but would have spent a lot of time in Anguilla. The opportunity for me, being able to have played the sport of cricket, that many of you will get to know a little bit better in 2028, when cricket is part of the Olympics. At this point, it's mainly a sport that was played in the British Empire, but now with technology, it is played pretty much around the world. For me, as an Anguillian, born in Anguilla, but spent time in England, a professional career in England and Australia, it was great to come back home to Anguilla to work with the youth in the schools for the development of sports. And the table down front, in fact, Mr. Ingraham would have been in Anguilla. I've met him there a few years ago. So, and again, when you talk about sports, it bonds us as a region, the Caribbean as a region, but there's also something about the inspiration that it gives to so many youngsters. The camaraderie, the character building, but also a career. So to be asked by the people of my island, by Anguilla, to run for office and support me in that, to be the Minister of Health, Sports and Tourism is indeed a great honor. And to be here, to reach out to all of you who are here, to come to Anguilla for a visit, and the chances are if you do, you will decide to come back again. We've been voted this year as the #1 island in the Caribbean, Bahamas and Bermuda. For 35 square miles, it is something that we take great pride in. It is not just about our beaches, our five-star hotels, but it is about our people, because at the end of the day, those buildings, they don't have energy. The energy really comes from the people. So what I do bring from Anguilla is the energy of the people of Anguilla, and we thank you so much for hosting us here in Miami. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I know Anguilla personally as a beautiful luxury destination. And so you must be very proud to be their minister. And we're really proud to have you here also. Next up, colleagues, is going to be the former mayor of Trenton, New Jersey. Welcome, Douglas Palmer.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. You know, it's really an honor and a privilege for me to be here. I want to thank Andy Ingraham for inviting me, my dear friend Ed McNeil, and my dear friend and leader, John Harmon. Can you hear me? John Harmon, who's the head of the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey, and who's got a book out there, Power Moves. If you're interested in Power Moves, check it out. Now, let me just tell you this real quick. I was blessed to be mayor of my hometown, Trenton, New Jersey, for 20 years. First African-American mayor. So when you're mayor of your hometown, it's good because you know everybody and everybody knows you. Now that's okay, except when you want to go somewhere quick and go in and get out. This one day I wanted to go to a store and just go in real quick and get out. Now I could lie to y'all and tell you I was going to a pharmacy or the farmer's market, but I was going to the liquor store in the hood. So as I'm going to the liquor store, just as I put my hand on the door, brother says to me, "Mr. Mayor." I go, "Oh." He said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Well, brother, let me go in here for a minute, and then, you know, when I come out, I'll be glad to answer any questions." So I was in the liquor store so long that I'd forgotten that he was even outside. So when I come out again, he says, "Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor." "Oh." "Yes, sir, brother. What is it? What's your question?" He says, "Mr. Mayor, I want to know, what's the greatest nation in the world?" I said, "What's the greatest nation in the world?" "United States of America. My one country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty." He said, "No, sir, it's not." I said, "Well, what's the greatest nation in the world?" And the brother looked at me right in my eyes and said, "Mr. Mayor, the greatest nation in the world is a donation." I said, "All right, brother, you earned that $5. You earned that $5. So I'm here to talk real briefly about mayors and how a great partnership between mayors and this industry can work. Mayors are the cheerleaders of industry. We love to see hotels and convention centers because they create real jobs. I'm here to say to you today, work in cities, work with mayors to create the kind of development you want to see. The African American Mayors Association under the presidency of Van Johnson of Savannah is there to help you. The United States Conference of Mayors, working with mayors to create real development is needed. They're going to work in your cities, and especially in underserved areas, and especially with developers that look like us, because we know that in underserved areas, we have a passion to create real jobs that translate into community. So please, reach out, have a partnership with mayors, because that's a good way to do public partnerships, public-private partnerships, and other things, because we're all about the same things, creating generational wealth for our cities and in your communities. And I want to give a shout out also, Andy. I didn't realize there are so many great people here, but you have so many HBCU alums here. I'm a proud alum of Hampton University, but I know we got some Virginia State and Norfolk State and Morehouse and FAMU and all of you there. You're all beautiful. Let's keep making our cities and our communities better. Thank you. God bless you.
Speaking of donations, you'll see a table in the front to your left where you can donate to the Nabhood Scholarship Fund. Now, every year I have a pal here who comes in and really gets us all whipped up with donations to the Nabhood Fund. And I think I saw him Wednesday night. He's a very famous lawyer named Matlock. Actually, no, not Matlock. Mitch, where are you? Mitch, stand up. Let them see you. So in the general session, the first general session, most of you would have heard from Mitch. Mitch, oh, Mitch, that's you, right? Mitch, you look like a brother, man. Oh, you got the light shining on you. So Mitch has been, from the very beginning of Nabhood, a great proponent of pushing. Mitch, come up here. Mitch, come up here. Come up here, quickly. Mitch has been one of our greatest, most stalwart, and most steadfast proponents of pushing the need for us to educate and provide opportunities and resources to educate the next generation. So, Mitch, tell us a short little bit about the Nabhood Fund and tell them how they could reach out to you and get us some donations. Mitch, you got 5 minutes.
Oh, less than that. I don't need much more. So, okay, so the Nabhood Fund, primarily we give universities, historic black colleges, universities, funds that they can appropriately allocate to students who need and are meritorious in needing that money. And so that's the primary vehicle by which we do that. In addition, how many students are in the room? Raise your hands. Everybody stand up for one moment. This is what we're here for. There you go. Students, please, students. All right. All right. So these young people, so, you know, I've done scholarship funds for a variety of different organizations, and it always amazes me how important it is and how appreciated it is by the students. And I was a student, you know, I have 2 graduate degrees. God knows I went out a coupon book this thick when I graduated college to pay off those loans. And so it's greatly appreciated, and particularly as expensive as education is today. And these are the future leaders of our industry. And for you all who want to be invested in this industry, it behooves you to support these young people, because just like you're investing in bricks and mortar, you have to invest equally as importantly in human talent and human potential for people who want to work with you. And so I highly encourage that. Now, how can you reach out? You can reach out to me through I'm on LinkedIn, so you can always just Google Mitch Miller attorney and you'll get to me pretty quick. But if you can reach out to PJ, and she'd be happy to talk with you about the Nabhood Scholarship Fund and how you can be a participant in that and supporter of that. And that's more efficient, because if you contact me, I'm probably just going to contact PJ. So everybody know PJ? PJ, stand up, PJ. PJ, Andy's daughter, PJ, she makes things happen. Shimano, they make so many things happen here. And we would not be able to do this without them, I guarantee you that. They keep Andy in line, believe me. And so anyway, so that's really what I have to say. We did pretty well. People slept in, but they also agreed to support the breakfast this morning. So we had good support for the breakfast this morning. But we didn't have as good attendance as I like, but that was their problem. Breakfast was pretty good, actually, that Hyatt provided. And, so anyhow, that's the whole ballgame, really, about scholarships. And thank you. And by the way, if there are any people in the, so we have in the room Tony DiGiulio, who graciously agreed this week. So Tony owns a law firm out of Philadelphia. And his law, Tony, stand up, please. And he owns a law firm out of Philadelphia, and they are one of the top property damage litigation firms in the nation. So when you have problems with an insurance company who's unwilling to pay, provide you with the proceeds that you need to repair buildings and the like, that's where Tony's firm comes into play, and they will definitely help you get what you are entitled to. And Tony this week agreed to be a supporter of the Nabhood Scholarship Fund, for which we are very grateful, and to come down and help and join the family here and participate. So thank you all. Thank you all for attending. There's still time to donate. You can still scan right up there. You should all at least scan for Sheila's book. which goes to a donation, and it's a great book, and she's a great woman, my goodness gracious. And so anyway, that's about it. Jerry, and I love this guy, I know him
Please
decades,
down.
love him. Okay, cool.
Mitch, as always, thank you so much. And guys, I know this is a networking conference, convention, and everything, and you gather around eating food with friends and family and everybody that you love. But when these guys are talking, man, I told Mitch you were the best behaved audience ever in the whole wide world. Don't let me down, okay? Pay attention to them. So look to your left, look to your right, and say to that person to your left, and say to that person to your right, I'm going to talk to you later after the lunch. Let me hear you say it. Ready, set, go. I'm going to talk to you later after the lunch. And the reason you're going to do that is because you want to hear what these people have to say to see if that helps broaden your imagination and wealth creation, right? You into making money. The rest of these people will be your friends for life, but right now you're into trying to find something out. So keep it down, please, and don't let me down. Person to your left tries to engage you. Person to the right tries to engage you. The words of the moment is, I'm going to talk to you after the lunch. All right? Okay, so the corporate sponsor and one of the greatest and most wonderful hotel chains that made this all possible is Marriott International, the sponsor of our luncheon. So give Marriott a hand. And to say just a few words about Marriott to you, I'm going to invite their Director of Lodging and Development, Juan Suarez. Juan, where are you? All right, give Juan a hand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'll just start by stating the obvious. We are really pleased to be here in support of Nabhood. Since our company's founding in 1927, we've been about inclusion and opening windows and doors of opportunities for people around the world and where we operate. If I speak personally, for me, it's really an honor, particularly also to see so many colleagues and friends from the Caribbean. I spent 10 years of my career working in the Caribbean and Latin America, so it's very special to me. I'll say that for all aspiring owners and students, to the students, don't worry, I won't make you stand up. You know, I think that if you're looking for access, for opportunity, for education, for resources, you are in the right place. And what I'll say is I'd like to echo the mayor's comments when he said, you know, reach out, stay connected. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's not about the conversation, the quick 5 minutes that you spent, you know, talking to one of the brands or a supplier or a consultant. It's about the relationships that you're going to foster beyond the conference that's going to make a real difference. I'll also say that you know, we're here to help. You know, we're in a business and we want to make deals and get deals done. So it is in your best interest to connect, and it's in our best interest to respond and be available for you. So on behalf of Marriott, thank you for having us. Thank you, Andy, for always being a gracious host. Where's Andy? Just give him a huge hand. I know that it's a great event and a lot of work. And obviously behind Andy, there's a big team working on putting this together. Thank you to them also, and in particular to the staff of the hotel. Thank you for executing a wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you very much, Marriott. What is it, the Bonvoy? Bonvoy, right? Yeah, I got one of them memberships. So I patronize you. Saul and Gloria, my two most wonderful favorite people in the hotel sector. Saul and Gloria, please come forward, please. So, if those of you don't know Saul and don't know Gloria, they are the founders, publishers, and the backbone of the Black Meetings in Tourism magazine. Give them a hand. I gotta say, they've been a mother, a father, an auntie, an uncle, a mentor, everything to me for more than 20 years. And I truly love them, just two wonderful people. And I wanted them to come up because I know tomorrow they're gonna be doing the Apex Awards, but it's important because today they've got a great little secret award that I think they're going to do for the first time, right?
Thank you, one of our sons for many years, Jerry Butler, thank you. And to all of you magnificent people, we appreciate you so much for your attendance and for your concern, for the gifts that you're giving to these students. Your donations and your energy represent their future, which is our future. Many of you are aware that next year in 2026, the United States will be celebrating what is called the semi-quincentennial. It is America's 250th year since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And now during this very unusual political and cultural climate that we live in, when our history is being challenged and diminished, I must say, it is so important that we honor our heroes, historic and contemporary. It has been a part of our mission for more than 30 years. And in the field of travel and tourism, there's probably no organization that comes to mind that better represents the tenacity and the commitment to excellence for our people than Nabhood. So it is with great pleasure that we present to Nabhood the Semi-Quincentennial Travel Black America 250 Legend Award for 2025. Andy, are you here?
As always, where's the busiest man in the room, PJ? PJ, where's your daddy?
Only God can tell.
He's out doing a hotel deal, right? All right, well, we'll see him later on when Craig Livingston and he take over in about 10 minutes. So on behalf of Andy Ingraham and the board and the directors of Nabhood, and on behalf of Ken Farron and Norm Jenkins, who are founders of Nabhood, who received the award earlier, I'm going to, with much humility and with the privilege and honor of receiving this award, I'm going to accept this award on behalf of Andy and Nabhood. So give me a hand. Photographer? No, I want the jewel. I want the jewel in the middle. Thank you. It's 1:45. I'm on time. So at 1:50, Andy is going to do a presentation with my brother Craig Livingston, and it'll be prospects and vision of a journey. And this is going to be a fireside chat with Andy and Craig. So now, guys, you can go ahead, eat, laugh, and talk. And let me go out front and find Andy and make sure Craig is here also, okay? Thank you so much for being quiet through Saul and Gloria. Love you guys, and I'll be back. Now remember, for the next session, you look to the right, you look to the left, and what do you tell those people? I will speak to you after the luncheon, right? Okay, so now that I have your attention, we're going to resume again. Remember, I was ahead of schedule, and well, let me start by inviting a really dear friend from Visit Miami Beach, all that wonderful stuff. She is the Senior Vice President of Multicultural Tourism and Development for this great, wonderful city of Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Connie Kennard.
Thank you. I was looking for some theme music. I was waiting on my theme music to come on. So welcome to everyone. Any first-timers in Miami? Okay, very good. Thank you for coming, and thanks for all of you for continuing to come back. I just want to say welcome on behalf of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are thankful that you are here. We are so appreciative of Andy Ingraham. Let's give him a hand. Let's give Andy a hand. And the whole team for continuing to bring this conference back, but more importantly, just bringing information for us to really advance. And, between Nabhood and the Multicultural Summit, I know that we all will take in a lot of great information that will help us in the future. My role at the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau is about tourism and bringing people to our destination and experience our destination. So your being here does make a difference, and we appreciate it. I'm honored also today to have our team here, members of our team. And as I introduce you, if you raise your hand, we have Petra Brennan, who is our Senior Director of Tourism Business Enhancement. We have at the Convention and Visitors Bureau an area in which we work with small businesses to make sure they're connected to tourism, particularly the Black and brown businesses in our destination. We feel that if tourism is our #1 industry, all of our businesses should have an opportunity. So Petra Brennan leads their efforts along with our Art of Black Miami program, in which we elevate artists in our community. So thank you, Petra. Also, we have Dr. Graylin Swilly Woods. Graylin, if you'll stand up. Dr. Woods is the executive director of our nonprofit, the BHI, historically the Black Hospitality Initiative, in which we encourage students, give scholarships and mentoring for those that want to be in the hospitality industry. It's very important. And we have given over how many thousands of scholarships? How many scholarships, Dr. Woods? Almost 500 scholarships over the past 30 years. And so it's a program that's near and dear to my heart. Thank you, students, all of you, for being here. You make a difference. Take it all in because you are our now, our future, and so thank you. Also, we have a new hire. Dr. Woods is honored now to have a program manager for the BHI, Convention and Visitors Bureau. We have expanded, and so I'd like to introduce Vernon Chipman, newest hire. It's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks. And so, again, our nonprofit is expanding, and we're happy to have Vernon on board to help us with our programs. Just wanted to give you a little detail, and I wanted to do that to let you know that we are committed as a destination to increasing and encouraging the participation of minority and Black and brown vendors and tourism in our industry. So with that, thank you. Andy Ingraham, come on up, thank you, or Jerry, whoever's next, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Miss Connie Kennard, here's your theme music.
Go ahead.
Girls, we run this mother. Yeah. Girls, we run this mother. Yeah.
All right, we'll be doing line dancing later on this evening. Okay, So, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, students, now this is the time for you to really simmer down and get some real knowledge. And, you know, this conference informs, it educates, and it sure as hell entertains. This session is about informing and educating. I guess for a very long time, back in the Bahamas, we had this little rude boy whose parents decided they would send him off to Jamaica. And when he left Jamaica, he came to the US, found a wonderful American lady, God bless her heart, she put up with him. And he had some incredible offspring like Shimado, and of course, everybody knows my sister PJ in the back room. And then he started this journey, I guess, of making up for being a bad boy when he was younger, where he's been adopting and mentoring some of the most wonderful people. I see in the audience a guy who I met maybe about 7 years ago. We were hanging out in DC, and this guy was just trying to build homes and flip them. Now this guy owns more than 7 hotels. And he's the son of Andy in every sense of the word. Evans Charles, stand up, let them see your handsome face. And Evans truly, in every sense of the word, is a testament to how Nabhood has grown, how we've grown, and how we've tried to execute Andy's vision. And I'm proud to be able to call him a partner. I'm proud to be able to call him a mentor, and I'm proud to be able to call him a friend. And more importantly, he is, in every sense of the word, an advocate for all things that are Black, African American, Caribbean, and of course he's a patriot. He is definitely American in every sense of the word with his connections, but he always shares. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the stage my buddy, Dr. Andrew Arlington Ingraham. Andy, take a seat.
Thanks, man.
And not to be outdone, but next on stage is a guy who runs a property management and hotel development company. He's got Marriott's, Hilton's, Hyatt's, and independent brands all under his overview. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome a man who is so full of wisdom and is willing to share his wisdom with us today. With a deep sense of pride, I want to welcome Mr. Charles Oswald, the CEO of Aperture Hotels.
All right, got to take my leg off.
So, Andy, I have the joy of turning the entire session over to you until we close out. So, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to Dr. Andy Ingraham and Mr. Charles Oswald, Esquire.
Thank you, Jerry. Just give Jerry a hand. How come you didn't paint your toenails?
Right. I don't think a pedicure was included in the package.
It wasn't. No.
But
you don't want a pedicure with a cutlass, right? Because that's in the Bahamas. We use a cutlass for pedicure until my friends like Anita came to the U.S. So, folks, first of all, let me tell you how thankful I am, not just for being here, but to have you join me. And the experience of trying to create economic wealth is only as good as your community growing up the same way. And I had the pleasure of meeting Charles a while back and had some great discussions. And he's going to tell you about his journey, how he got here, people that influenced and what he has done. He no longer has a boat in Fort Lauderdale. I'm a little pissed off at that. I get to ride on this boat.
maybe one day again.
One day you'll get a boat. I wish you and Evans would get a boat. Evans will get a 110 foot, you get 120 foot. And we can go to the Bahamas on the weekends and alternate.
I'll buy 20 feet if you buy the other 90.
That's a good one. But I'm going to open up with something I said to Charles very privately. I hope he doesn't mind. Most of you know that I'm a very shy, keep my opinions to myself. And, you know, I try to govern what I say, but sometimes my tongue gets ahead of me.
Sometimes he doesn't.
And sometimes it doesn't. I like that. So when I met Charles, young, successful, white guy in the hotel business, I said, you know, I want to do business with people that understands my vision, who wants to give opportunities to people of color. And I challenged him. I said, tell me about your organization. How many people, how many black, how many brown, how many women? And we had a talk. He said, hey. He listened attentively. And I walked off, because my philosophy is if I'm going to do business with you, you've got to have enough respect to do business with us. I was in Atlanta one day at a conference. He stopped me and said, hey, can I talk with you? I said, yeah. He said, you made me think. He said, I went back home and I evaluated my organization. I looked at how the makeup was. Because I told him our customer base is continuing to change. It's becoming brown every day. And he said, I had a chance to think about what you said. And he said, let me tell you what we've done. Tell him what you've done.
That's great. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm humbled to be sitting up here with you. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, that was a deep thought exercise, right? I didn't know when he asked the question. And what it made me think about was that if you want to change the makeup in your organization, it has to be intentional. It's not going to happen by accident. And so since that point in time, I went straight to our head of HR and I said, hey, how do I answer this question? Can you run a report for me? And we ran that report and realized we were underrepresented in our management level, property general manager and above property. And so since then, we're at a place where we're at about 40% now historically underrepresented groups that are in our general manager seats, which is very important. I think to elevate people from department heads and getting into the GM seat is where it starts. I think that continues to elevate into our multi-unit level with our leaders at the corporate office. And there we've had particular success with women. And so we're at a place now where we're actually at 70% women above property in our organization. So I'm the minority now in the organization. And I'm very proud of how that happened. And I'll just say this. It's a funny thing was once we broke the seal, like once it started, we found applicants just coming to us and saying things like we've heard about you, and giving people a chance, and we want to work there. So once the ball got rolling, they had a life of its own. So I'm really thankful. I wish we could take a ton of credit for it, but I appreciate you just having planted the seed in my mind to say, have you looked at this?
Please give him a hand for that. You have to be intentional about success. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but if you want it to be successful, if you want to be successful, it has to be intentional. You started a company. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got started.
Well, that journey goes back to when I was in high school. I was working as a cook in a freestanding restaurant. And really quickly, I was, when I was 16, 17 years old, so all of a sudden,
your last name is Oswald. You're not related to Oswald that shot the president.
Well, there's another story with that, and no, I'm not related to that not the Dallas Oswald.
Not
but,
the Dallas, the so forth?
I'll have to tell you about that. Okay. So I started as freestanding cook, and I worked my way up really quickly into management. I don't know if these guys realize I was a teenager as they're handing me the keys to the restaurant and putting me in charge. But I'm going to college, right? So I go to college. Here I am. I had an academic scholarship in business, I had a music scholarship, and I had a track and field scholarship, a full-time job in hospitality, and that is a full-time job, let me tell you, and a full-time girlfriend, who's my wife now of 31 years. And
congratulations.
Yeah.
So, and those only women clap.
Yeah. Right. So I had thought at the time about hospitality as a job. I was not thinking about it as a career. I was graduating with an intent to go into finance and go work on Wall Street. So literally, here we are. I'm graduating. I have a job offer I've accepted with Merrill Lynch to go up to Wall Street. And now you got a picture of the time frame here. You're talking about early 90s. It's a different Wall Street. This is before FINRA existed and some of the regulations that we have today. So my buddy calls me up the week before I'm leaving to go to New York. He says, hey, Charles, are they hiring over there at the Hyatt where you work? And I said, well, yeah, it's hospitality. We're always hiring, you know. He says, I said, but why are you asking? I'm coming up to see you, Todd. I'm coming to work with you in Wall Street next week. We're going to kick ass. It's going to be great. He said, no, you don't want to come here. I said, what do you mean I don't want to come here? He said, listen, he said, you're not going to fit in here. I said, why wouldn't I fit in? I'm like really good with numbers and finance. He said, no. He says, you care too much about people. I said, okay, hold on a second. Tell me what you're talking about. He said, let me tell you what our job is. It was like the Wolf of Wall Street clip. Have you guys seen this with Matthew McConaughey and Leonardo DiCaprio? Yeah. And they have this clip where he's there on his first day, and he's listening to the senior guy. And he says, hey, you know, I'm really happy to be here and, you know, excited to work for your organization. And Matthew McConaughey looks at him, he said, you know what our job is? He says, to take the money out of our client's pocket and put it into ours. That's it. And he said, but if we make them money along the way, that's a good thing. No. Just take the money from their pocket and put it into ours. And so Todd began to describe this to me, and he said they're greedy. They don't care about the customers. He said, my boss is an ass. You don't want to work here. I said, well, why do you want to work at the Hyatt? He said, Charles, when I came to visit you at the Hyatt, they were friendly at the door. There was business people laughing in the bar. I saw that bride and groom, their first dance in the ballroom. He's like, you work in a happy place. He's like, I just want to come work with you. So you know what? I hung up the phone. I thought for a minute, do I want to have a life of purpose and live in a happy place and make a meaningful difference in people's lives, or do I just want to take their money? And I decided to instead put in for a transfer to the Hyatt and promotion. And I accepted a role in Dallas for 30% of what I was going to make at Wall Street, and I began to work my way up. So it was the hard way. It's coming through operations. It was all just coming through operations, up through food and beverage and rooms. You know, I eventually worked my way up through, you know, general manager seat and multi-unit. I ran operations for Noble Investment Group. We did about $3 billion worth of deals there. Before they sold the management company off to Interstate, at which point I went into partnership with another group called HP Hotels, and we grew that portfolio to 50 properties, sold the company, and I launched Aperture Hotels. So we're sitting here today with about 30 properties under management and growing at a nice clip. We're in 10 states in the U.S. as we stand here today, and I've got a development in the Caribbean as well that's in early stages. So it's exciting times.
It's interesting. Hard work pays off. So I introduced him to a buddy of mine one day, and the guy turned to me and said, Andy, why don't we try to buy his company? So I approached him. I said, hey, would you sell to us? And he was building what looks like a great company. He said, no, I don't think I'm ready to sell just yet. So let's find something else to do. I said, you've got any F&B outlets, then maybe we can come in and operate some of your restaurants. And so where you start and how you treat people, and one of the first social events we went to was at PAC, a bunch of football players with a bunch of money, and we said, Mark and all his friends and all those guys, we were at Matchbox, right?
Yes, that's right.
Matchbox on Las Olas.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see the development of the industry as it relates to Aperture? Now, remember, you worked for Noble, not Noble, Mitchell.
Yes, that's right.
Mitchell took his parents' company from, what was Mitch Evans, maybe 10 million?
So when he first came, Mitch grew, he grew up in the business, right? And his parents had accidentally come into the business when he decided to be a commercial real estate broker, and drank his own Kool-Aid about a deal being so good that he would just buy it himself.
Right.
And he bought it and realized, holy crap, this is hard work. I got to run this thing. And so he grew up in the business with a whole family working in the hotel. So yeah, they went from having some roadside economy hotels to, I believe he's now like done $7 to $8 billion worth of transactions and currently has $1 billion fund. Yeah, it's a great story and a great private equity shop to work with.
It just tells you the endless possibility about our business, the growth rate, the potential. And every year, we spend time with Mitt, with his parents. Mitt created a series for his parents in Atlanta. We go to Hunter.
Yes.
And it's great to watch Mitt, his parents sitting there, his wife, and how proud they are of what he's done. But what's much more important, he brought in a couple of athletes to invest with him. Kevin Garnett, one of the guys that has a house in the Bahamas.
And the bus. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And for us, this business is not just about what we do, it's how we can do it together and collectively. I would be remiss if I didn't say, and you can talk about a couple of your brands, when we go and talk to Hilton or Marriott, they are committed to our success. They're committed to our partnership. Whether it's IHG, whether it's Hyatt, whether it's Wyndham, whether it's Choice. You know, Ken and I were talking about extended stay earlier. And there's so many opportunities and so many different range of hotels. How many do you have and what are the types of hotels? Select service?
Yeah, so the product that we're managing mostly today is going to be premium select service, compact full service, and lifestyle hotels, and experiential properties. Now we do have some extended stay as well. I'm personally an owner in extended stay, and I think that's an important category at the end of the bell curve, if you will. Most of our properties are in here, and we have that. And then we also have even like big box, 400 plus room full service hotel as well, with 100,000 square foot of meeting space. So we've got a full range of product types there. But most of them are in here. And we talk about, so where is it going and what are the type of investments? Probably looking at what I hold today might be a good example that I personally am invested in extended stay because I liked where it's been, and so invested there a few years ago. And then also invested in like an autograph hotel, for example, that because it's experience, and I think that's where the customer is going, right, as we look forward. And so I think that's a good way to look at it. Is there's proven track record in the less volatility you see in the extended stay segment. It definitely has higher operating cash flow margins, and then there's those experiential hotels, those boutiques, those lifestyle properties, which will have a higher potential for asset appreciation. Right, that when you sell, you're going to sell it for a lot more money than what you developed it for.
So is that a good exit strategy? I think people don't understand, if I buy something, what's the next step? So
there's two ways that you make money in commercial real estate. It's just two, if we just boil it down to real simple things, right? It's annual cash flows, which is really good, like in the extended stay models, and it's asset appreciation when you sell. So if you're going to hold an asset for 5 years, and let's just using easy numbers, let's say you have a $10 million investment, and that $10 million hotel, let's say, requires $3 million of equity to go into it. And let's say that you now, through the course of improving operations and repositioning it and so on, you make it worth $13 million when you sell it. Well, you put $3 million of cash in there, you have $13 million of additional asset appreciation, so you've now you've doubled your money on top of what your annual cash flows were. And that's kind of a general target of what we'd like to see in that segment when we talk about those experiential hotels, is they have a little bit more potential for increase in value.
What about the Caribbean? Any opportunities you see there?
Yeah, listen, we love the Caribbean. I've just had a hard time getting started in the Caribbean, to be frank.
Laws, government, regulations?
Yeah, so every island is a different set of regulatory issues. You've got different lending environment. You've got a different set of environmental rules and employment rules and so on. So there's a lot to track there. That's not to say that it can't be done or can't be done well. I prefer take an existing asset and reposition it in the Caribbean would be my preference. But that said, I have myself, I'm 25% owner in a 26-acre site with 2,200 linear feet of oceanfront in Roatan, Western Caribbean, that we're working on a residential development on.
Mixed
and
use?
Then and then phase 2 we'll do a resort, which will be probably 150 to 200 rooms.
So you think there's a continuous growth in spite of some of the issues we're having with visas and unsure whether we'll be around without
Absolutely.
a nuclear attack?
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing about travel is there is no doubt it's been somewhat volatile these last few months. We have 4 consecutive months of declining occupancy, but the future is still bright. And what we have to always be careful about thinking with when it comes to investments is you can't get so caught up in the micro trend that you looking at the trees that you lose sight of the forest. The truth is, this industry is a great industry to be in long trend, right? It's a long trend line of growth. I mean, we have been needing another inn ever since they turned Jesus away. I mean, it's, right? And, I mean, this is the second oldest industry in the world. It's the second oldest business because I think the oldest business needed a place to conduct their business. But we had a
That was good. That was good.
I just made that up. I'm not sure if it's true, but everything else I say is probably truer than that. But no. But look, it's a continual growth, and the fact is the world is increasingly connected. Transportation is easier and easier. It's faster. There's just low barriers. I wouldn't get hung up on the current situation.
No, I agree. I think if you come up with a great game plan, bumps in the road. I mean, remember in 2008, 2007, we thought the world would come to an end. In 2000, when they went from 1999 to 2000, I spent some time in Anguilla and St. Martin. And a guy named Damon John from Shark Tank gave me $1 million and said, throw a big party. And I went down to St. Martin, discovered Anguilla, and every time I go down there with the minister sitting, I go to Janos and have a cold beer. But do you see another COVID where we all have to shut down or another?
No.
Rate?
I mean, look, I think
the president keeps pressuring the chairman to reduce the rate. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, well, and probably, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal about that, I think yesterday or today. It was talking about that probably the more he pressures him to reduce the rate, the less likely it is to go down.
I agree. Yes, I agree.
He probably ought to leave well enough alone there. And I'm a big fan of the Fed being an independent institution. But that said, I was listening to the Chicago Board of Governors talking on a podcast the other day, and he said there's a lot lining up that suggests we should reduce interest rates. He said the economy has proven much more resilient, and while he was never a fan of the current policies. He's like, I kind of have to step back and look at it and go, you know what, it didn't shock the system the way we all thought it did. Like if you look back at April and where we are today, it sort of all bounced back and the stock market hit new records. He's like, we're second guessing ourselves a little bit. So anyways, we're more likely to see interest rates go down. I would say that they've peaked.
Was in fourth quarter, first quarter next year. Fourth quarter this year.
Oh, I won't prognosticate when. I mean, listen, every report that I have seen that has a consensus on when interest rates are going to drop.
I know.
For 2 consecutive years now, I watch them every single month, and they've been wrong 100% of the time. So I stopped.
Every year when we go to Alice or Hunter, that's the one conference I want to sit in to see who has the crystal ball.
All those balls are broken. They're broken. They're cracked. Everything we said. I think we all said tariffs is going to be the end of the world. This has screwed everything up, and and somehow we're sitting here and CPI hasn't.
We're sitting in a hotel that they're going to implode and put 1,000-room condo and 1,000 units.
And the Thompson.
And the Thompson. That's right. It's a Hyatt brand.
Yep.
Hyatt property.
Which, by the way, speaks to my earlier point. this, all the Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, all these namesake brands have a little bit of a struggle and identity crisis. And they've had a difficult time getting these big boxes to do these big renovations to bring it up to the current standards. And what are they replacing it with? They're replacing it with a more realistically sized Thompson upper upscale or luxury tier boutique asset that will outperform as we look forward to where the market's going versus where it's been.
Would that apply to branded residence too? Because
100%, yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
name recognition.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, like in our industry today, when you look at the value of luxury and there was a J.D. Power a report that came out recently, and it's talking about who the customer perceives as being the highest valued brand. And it was Ritz-Carlton and Waldorf Astoria that were really close to each other. And so what are you seeing? You're seeing the Waldorf Astoria and residences right down the road.
Just open, the one that just opened back after 8-9 years being shuttered. And then purchased recently, somebody sold for $900,000 a key. I just read in the Wall Street Journal, a new hotel was just sold for about $1.2 million a key. I mean, it's incredible. Do you see?
Does anybody want to do that for their first deal?
I know, yeah, that's
a door.
I mean,
one
think
bedroom.
about it. You know? But interest rates will go down. What about labor costs? And then, of course, the supply of labor. And then with tariffs, my construction cost is going to go up. I don't know how Blight is going to do.
And don't forget deportation.
And Blight, are you going to push imploding this hotel back because construction costs, labor, you know, I know it's going to be a tough push, but.
Yeah, so on that, and, our position is we want to underwrite. This sounds a little crazy. We wouldn't have done this a few years ago, but we're underwriting 20% contingency on new construction that has not yet started. And the thought is that we just want to be ultra prepared for the impact of all those things. So let's talk tariffs for a second. First off, tariffs, all the fear and all the stuff we said and how it was going to blow everything up, that really just hasn't metastasized into the result that everybody's predicted. Now, it's early, and there'll be some pressures, and some of that stuff will come true, but it hasn't turned into what we said it would. But to be safe, we said, hey, if we're going to land at 15% tariffs across the board, we should be ready for that. Two, I think we're talking about new development deals. There's the deportation issue, which will change the labor environment. So though up to now, wage growth has somewhat normalized, right? We're seeing increases in the 4+% range, which isn't terrible. It does outpace CPI a little bit, so there's actual real income gains in the U.S. But what could throw that off a little bit is the deportation. So deportations have been behind up to now, but now we're moving at the rate of 3,000 per day. Now, what does that mean, 3,000 per day? How many people is that in a year? It's over 1 million, right? Over 1 million. And we have 1 million people per year going out. If that's actually what continues to happen throughout the course of the remainder of the administration, if that really is sustainable, you're talking about another, let's say, 3.5 million or so going out. And when they go out, what will that do? It's going to affect 3 industries the most in this order. It's going to be agriculture. So Wall Street Journal reports that 43% of all agriculture workers are undocumented workers. The next is construction. You're building your new hotel. And in that category, it's still, I think it's close to 30% are undocumented workers. Mm-hmm. And then the third is hospitality. Right, so leisure and hospitality super sector has 14 million employees across the United States, and 1.1 million of them are undocumented workers. Now, organizations like ours, where we do all the background checks and everything, we're not going to have this, but we may feel it when those who don't exercise that diligence, or the contract labor companies, when they lose their team members, that's going to force the industry to raise its rates, and people are going to come after my employees that are legal, and that will start to change the environment a little bit.
That's also going to change the labor rate, because if they're going to come after your folks, they're going to pay more money.
That's right.
So I think you said 20% contingency. So over-leveraging that we've seen in the past, because one hiccup can really throw you in a tailspin.
That's right.
You seem to be very fair and insulating yourself. Question for you, who's some of the folks that have influenced your actions in the past, in the industry, outside the industry? You know, most folks I know, myself, we have folks in the industry as well as out. Who's some of the folks that have made impressions?
Yeah, you know, first, I will give a lot of, I have to give a lot of credit to Dad, right? Dad, my parents eloped when they were kids, had me when they were teenagers, and you know, they stayed together to the last day, and Dad worked his way up the hard way, educating himself as well. He, you know, grew up as in the country and had to hitchhike to go to a library. You know, went to those one-room schoolhouses, and they were really poor, rural agriculture area. Actually, not far, in south of Belle Glade, you know, South Bay, south of Lake Okeechobee out there. And so he, you know, he would hitchhike to Tampa or Miami to find the library back in those days. Yeah. And so, but Dad went on, what I saw was the value of hard work and advancing his education. He continued to advance his education throughout his life until he ultimately became a PhD. He became, you know, corporate general counsel of some big, you know, multi-billion-dollar companies, and then as on like a retirement gig, became a professor in the North Carolina State University system, and said, hey, this is fun after work. I just love giving back to the students, which invited me also to give back to students and speak on a number of campuses and sit in some advisory roles at universities. So his influence, I think, on education being the single most predictive, the best predictor of your future life circumstance, I think was really important. And then in the industry, you know, I would say it was guys, you know, frankly, like Mitt, his diligence, his discipline, and the idea, you know, when it comes to investment, and not just throwing money out there and doing ego deals, but actually giving ones that are going to have a you know, high return rate, I think was really impressive and definitely influenced me in the way I do business.
Ego deals, extended stay, select service. You know, but I want a nice Ritz-Carlton or a Waldorf. I won't make any money, but that's besides the point.
But you'd be really proud.
Really proud of not making no money anytime you look at the P&Ls. And in the morning when I get up, I spend an hour looking at emails and P&Ls and all that stuff and figuring out how we're going to feel that day. And you feel good and bad and look at interest rates and all that. But what do you see in terms of attracting investors? Is this still a good market to get people to invest in? This conference is all about getting people, educating people of how to do business. If there's two things before you take somebody money to become a partner, what do you look for in those two things?
To become a partner?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's integrity.
Integrity. So I want to make sure that we share, you know, core values and understand what the real mission is, right? So when I talk about, let me just talk about, you know, core values, and as I see them as a company and personally for a moment, is you know, we teach our team is, you know, one, we want people that are transparent and accountable, right? We're like really clear about that you don't get to hide behind emails, you don't get to, you know, we want to know who the accountable party is for everything that we do. So transparent and accountable. Two, we want people that really embrace growth. Now that's both corporate business growth, it's personal growth. I'm expecting every member of my team to take some time out to read, you know, the trade industry magazines, spend a little personal time to develop themselves each day, perpetuate their own education and so on as well. You want to talk about growth. You know, three, you know, I want people that are committed and caring, right? That they actually, I want to know, are you committed to this business and what we do and our customers day in and day out or not? You actually care about me, our partnership, our team member that's around us. And four, I want those who did I say embrace? Yeah, create stakeholder value, right? So when we talk about creating that stakeholder value, I want all of us to remember this. Good people, good employees, good companies do two essential things. What are those two essential things? They solve problems and they create value, right? So whether it was, when you wanted an iPhone, you look at it, what did it solve the problem, right? You connected, you had apps inside with your phone, it brought your computer and your phone together, and you said it solved a problem that we had, for our personal productivity and communication and stuff. And there was a value there. We had a lot of value, and they've continued to create value for their stakeholders and so on. So we all have to recognize that that's what we got to do, right? Solve problems, create value. So I look for partners. I want folks that really understand all those values. They agree on the same things. If we don't share that same platform, that's fine. Let's move on. And I want them to be people of high integrity. That is absolutely critical. Trustworthy folks.
We're going to take some questions. Any questions? But again, you're looking for investors now to do and expand your company.
Yeah. And I'll just be clear. So I'm not a capital raising guy. I'm not looking to take commissions, sit out here. I don't have a license to raise money. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not raising a fund or anything. But what I am doing is some matchmaking, right? So at this point, having managed some 300 properties and worked with sophisticated private equities, REITs, family offices, high net worth individuals, I've come to know a lot of people. And so a lot of folks will say, hey, you managed for me before. We did some projects together. We have another project. Do you have any other investors who might want to join us on this project? And so we've got quite a few of those that accessible to us. And I'd love to make introductions for those of you, people that I know. And if those of you are looking to deploy some money, I'm happy to make those introductions.
We just got about 4 minutes to go. Any questions? I'm having a good time talking to Charles, but if you have no questions, we'll continue and close. I don't see any hands, so I'm going to assume one hand. Two.
Wait, five.
Anybody have a microphone?
Thank you. My name is Donnell. I'm a hospitality and tourism management student at Florida International University. My question is, what was one of the biggest sacrifices you had to take in your life in order to get to this position now? And what is some advice you would give to students who want to either be in your position or be in another position, being on the stage?
One of the biggest sacrifice and advice that I would give, is that the two? Okay. The biggest sacrifice, first, I'll just tell nobody, I would not recommend my path to anybody. Okay, let me just start with that. My path in operations, it's 24/7, 365. We worked 366 days last year. So the business is full-time. You should hire someone else to operate your hotel is what you should do. But
I agree.
But yeah, so the sacrifice, I think, to that was probably family. I'm super blessed. It's amazing to me that we were always able to stay together. I have 4 kids born in 4 different cities and one wife, and somehow we pulled it off. But I did sacrifice some time with them. In terms of my advice, listen, know your priorities. I think, it's some of those simple things, like always doing what's right? Always doing your best. And being committed and persevering with whatever it is that you do. I think you've got to know that everybody's asking those questions about you as well. If you're going to be someone's boss one day, is my boss? Are you doing what's right for me? Do you care about me as an individual? That trust, commitment, and love thing translates not just in family, but over to the business as well.
We're going to take one more question. I'm really committed. I have this thing about trying to stay on time. And Jerry Butler has a great Caribbean panel coming up. We're going to take one more question. However, Charles is going to be around. If you have some additional questions, ask him. He's hopping around on one leg. Just be mindful of that. Question?
Yes. Charles, first of all, thanks for coming to chat with us. My name is George and Tim. I've been with the Marriott for quite a long time, and Andy has been such a great mentor to me.
Every time I go to New York to the Marriott, and sometimes I just show up at the Marriott Times Square, the marquee, I call him and I say I need a room, and he takes good care of me.
Oh man, I'm there every year.
Yeah, all right. We go there for NYU. That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So like I said, I've been with the Marriott for about 30 years, and quite frankly, my goal is to move into asset management or one day own my own management companies such as yours. So I was wondering, can you walk us through how you secured your first contract. And I also want to know, with the three main brands, Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt, which brand is it easier to deal with in terms of management contracts?
Oh, no. Okay, that first question, I missed the first question. I heard the second one. What was the first one? Did you hear the first question?
No, but just answer.
Yeah, I had a hard time with the first question. And first of all, if you work with a brand, can you raise your hand so I know who's here? I love all my brand friends, but look, there's no doubt that they're each a little different. And I'm reluctant to just call anybody out. I will say, there are certain brands that have been around for coming up on 100 years now, for example, that are really structured. And with that high structure, that means less flexibility. And so for first-timers who are looking for a little bit of wiggle room or maybe need someone to hold their hand through the process, that could be tricky. There are other brands who are going to be more adaptable maybe to your needs, maybe help your hand along with your manager, to get the deal done, and that can be, very advantageous to you. So, look, the answer is it depends, and each of them has strengths. There are some that are a little stronger at the luxury tier, some that are stronger at the upscale, and some are stronger at at select service, and some are stronger at, extended stay and economy. So depending upon where you are, that might determine whether you go with a Wyndham or an IHG or a Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott. But at the end of the day, I think that's where a good manager should be there to hold your hand and help you along through the process, the brand selection process, and what's the right brand for you.
Thanks, Charles. At the end of the day, all during the year, we partner with brands like Marriott and Hilton to do workshops. And Daniel just said to me, we're going to do a bunch of workshops this year at Marriott. If you're serious and looking to get into this business, you want some additional information, call our office, call Marriott. We want players that really want to invest. You must, let me repeat this because some people don't seem to get this, you must have some money. The days of government cheese is over. So if you want to get in our business, you're serious about it, please give us a call. Please join me in thanking Charles. Great job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Big balls of water.
Jerry, thank you very much. That was Perspectives and Vision, The Journey with Charles Oswald, CEO of Aperture Hotels, and Dr. Andy Ingraham. Our next session is the Caribbean Investment and Development Forum. Our moderator is Jerry Butler of Butler Investment Group, Wayne Biggs of U.S. Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, Pablo Maturana, Director of Development for Latin America and the Caribbean Hilton, and Salik Garland, Investment Services Executive in Invest Turks and Caicos. Panelists, please come to the rear to be mic'd. Thank you. Salik.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, just one last little thing on the lunch. Please join me in giving a hand to the Hyatt Regency staff for serving us. I don't say John Paul, but John Paul to you and your team, thank you very much for giving us a great lunch. So give us 5